Well, hey, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I'm your host. My name is Jared, and I'm using my platform today to call for you and everyone you know to divest from Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar Media Group. And why? Why, Jared? Well, I'm a big fan of free speech. You see, I exercise mine every morning from 8 a.m. to 9:30 live. I do it for you every single day. And you know what's crazy? Haven't offended a soul to the point of being called to being canceled. Okay? Also haven't sought a wide audience. As my mother would say, I'm not ready for all that attention. So if you ever wondered, why don't you use all them other websites, Jared? The Facebooks, the Threads, that's where all the white supremacists went. And so I'm gonna try to build my audience in safer waters before we venture out. And I think right about now is a good time to start to do that. So I'm gonna ease into it. I don't want to overwhelm us. I certainly don't want people that aren't kind of part of what we're doing here to latch on. But I think when our free speech starts to get abridged, that hey, that might signal a necessary call to action. I don't often ask you to do anything. Remember, we don't run ads. I don't ask for donos. I don't have a Patreon. None of that shit. Fuck all that. I'm here to do what I was gonna do anyway. During this hour and a half show, what I do with a live audience, whom, as I've explained to my wife, these are my friends, and for the record, in many cases, better friends than I've ever had in real life. Good to go. So I sit every morning for 90 minutes and bullshit with my friends about what's going on in the world and try to keep our heads above water, right? And make it so we don't feel exhausted and we're not overwhelmed because we are informed. That's the whole purpose of the show. Is despite all the shit going on outside, I have a very clear idea of what's going on. Now, could I have a better picture? Sure. Could I be more focused? Absolutely. But all that sounds like more stress. And so what I tend to do is I look at what is the biggest. This is how you want to know how my brain works. This is how I decide to make content. Holy fuck. I look at what is the biggest glaring problem that was left over from yesterday. Do you get it? Like this, if left to fester, this problem's only going to get worse. And the biggest problem that I see left over, uh, Donald J. Trump violated Jimmy Kimmel's First Amendment by getting his boss to fire him. And he was reinstated and he went back live, but like two-thirds of his viewing audience was cut off by Sinclair and Nexstar. And in my head, immediately, I said, aren't those publicly traded companies? Divest from Sinclair and Nexstar. I want to see these companies fail in my lifetime. Um, I went and looked up, and how are they so corruptible? Don't they have a C-suite of executives that are public? And given that they have a C-suite level executives that are responsible for this, let's find out who's responsible. And so I went and did the fucking research this morning, and that's why I made that video. Because, goddamn it, I may not be a fucking Democrat or a Republican, and I might call myself a socialist, but I did swear fealty to that Constitution. Just so everybody understands. The thing I've realized, if you're not an immigrant and you didn't serve in the military, you didn't take the citizen oath. So you never had to fucking raise your hand and swear that you would protect this country against all threats, foreign and domestic, and understand that I did not swear loyalty to a god or a king or a president or any elected official or any state or any city or any county or none of that shit. It was to the fucking Constitution. And I think you do uh, with your uh, with your platform what you can do the most. And there are a lot of people that I talk to that have like managed retirements, that have started to manage their investments, and I want to put it out into the ether. Make the call to your fucking FA and get yourself out of Sinclair, out of Nexstar. Stop investing in these fucking companies that will do an authoritarian's bidding. Because here's the thing, there aren't that many fucking people, and the calls are growing. It's only a matter of time before the Epstein files are released. It is only a matter of time before uh the dam breaks, kids. They have managed to limit, and it makes, of course, this serves me. Okay, they have managed to not talk about publicly the 2024 U.S. election up and fucking down the Democratic Party. They're not talking about it. They're past it. They read the rules too. And I think that there's going to be such a shift, that if we don't divest from these oddly run publicly traded companies, like Sinclair, for example, the not Sinclair family, David D. Smith, the Smith family runs Sinclair, okay? It's really weird that it's a publicly traded company, but the Sinclair family maintains voting power. So, despite the fact that they're a publicly traded company and they have a C suite of executives, they have the voting control. The family does. Don't you think that's fucking wild? What is this? Game of Thrones? No, a publicly traded company should not have a special rules that allow the family to have voting power within a fucking publicly traded company. Don't you think that's wildly fucking inappropriate? Especially given that these companies are choosing to abridge people's free speech. And then there's uh Sud, I think that was their name. Who's the majority owner of Nexstar? Perry A. Sook, founder and chairman slash CEO. What is particularly problematic about Nexstar Media Group is that the guy in charge, the guy that's the majority shareholder, is also the CEO and founder. Remember, we talk about absolute power corrupts absolutely. A little bit of Jerry Jones for your ass. It was an NFL joke. Hopefully, you understand. My wife will understand this when she watches this. Uh, Jerry Jones ain't won shit in 25 years, and he's like the CEO and the GM. They got talent out the wazoo, but they ain't won shit. So, yeah. So, I want to make sure we led with that this morning on this rainy Thursday. It started raining while I was walking the dogs. So, for the record, um, I've had dogs my whole life, and I always wondered like what's the best part of their life. and it's getting dried off after getting wet. My dogs fucking go bananas. Uh, when I'm like, "Do you need dried off? Are you like soaking wet? Is like wet outside? Come here, let me dry you off." It's like the best their life ever gets. So let me post here. Like I said, we're gonna slowly creep and expand. You don't want to do it too fast. Day three of rain here in New Jersey. Yeah, I was just pissing this morning. Ain't nothing wild. But yeah, I saw that despite Jimmy Kimmel getting reinstated, like 60% of the country couldn't watch it. And I was like, what the fuck? That's a terrible decision given that his ratings were incredible and he had like a massive viewership. That's irresponsible. Somebody's getting fired. And then I was like, wait, who did it? Nexstar and Sinclair. And then I'm like, okay, how are these companies so easily corruptible at the top? Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. Exhibit A and B. Divest from those companies. It's A. Never was there a better time. I'm telling you, build a business. Holy shit. And just don't be a piece of shit. My God. It would not be hard to be the alternative. Not be hard. Literally anything you want to do. Whatever you do, don't raise taxes. Yeah, but don't you think how it would be political suicide for those Republicans to change their vote? So keep in mind, they're already gonna get their ass handed to them at midterms. It's happening. Like I've never felt more confident. Never felt more confident. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be real bad. hmm It's gonna be real bad. Like 90-10. Hmm? By the time it gets there, 90-10, then it's a uniparty. And then we have a real problem, right? Then you have absolutely dick all happening because the Supreme Court's still going to grind down. Hmm? All right, so Putin's forced to raise taxes again. Ooh, this is some hot shit. Ukraine shoots down Russian Su-34 bomber over. Ooh, we're gonna pronounce this word. Zaporizhzhia? Zizia? Zaporizhzhia? Oblast? Again, we've been following this story. Hey, that Su-34 is like a legit. That's a legit takedown by Ukraine. Okay. The Russian Su-34. It's a pretty sweet looking plane. But yeah, shot it down. 4 a.m. local time. So, what time is it in Ukraine? Okay, it's so right now it's 8:14 where we are. It's 3:15, 3:14 where they are in the afternoon, same day. So they are 7 hours ahead of us. They're 7 hours ahead of me. Okay, so 11 hours ago, 9 hours ago, midnight. Yeah, it's pretty fresh kill. I like it. See, you see how You see how people celebrate the death of people? I celebrate when the underdog eliminates a highly specialized piece of weaponry. hmm It's like when they took down the Death Star. Um, that's what it's kind of like for Ukraine to shoot down an Su-34 bomber. It's actually a pretty significant achievement for someone that is having to mass produce their own drones and who's having to receive investment from other companies into their military to fight Russia. They're winning, but they're made up of many groups that are aiding them. hmm Yes, agree. Hopefully they can take care of Russia quickly now that they have a green light. hmm Volodymyr Zelensky says he is ready to leave office once the war ends and vowed to push for elections if a ceasefire is reached, despite constitutional and security hurdles. Despite that not being probably what people are going to want. They're probably going to want the guy doing it right to be in charge for a long time. Yeah, when they change the rules so that you could stay in power, that's the ultimate sign of achievement in life. Is when they're like, no, 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 let him keep cooking. He was kicking ass. That's what Ukraine has decided on Volodymyr Zelensky is not let him cook. Like he's a good leader. Hey, Russia says we have no choice but war. Okay, Donny Boy thinks he can stay in if there's a war. Yeah, he just can't find a place to put him. You know. Just gonna share the show real quick. As always, we're live on YouTube and Twitch. Podcast, YouTube, Twitch, Free Palestine, Slava Ukraini. All right, you're active. Poland seeks to ditch NATO EU approval to down objects over Ukraine. Warsaw is moving to give its military the green light to shoot down Russian drones over Ukraine without waiting for NATO or EU approval in a bid to reclaim rapid response powers stripped under a 2022 law. Let's fucking go. Panama revokes over 200 Russian tankers. Joins Ukraine's push for child return. Powerful Panama. 200 Russian tankers would be debilitating to just about anyone's economy. Let's read. On September 24th, during the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Panamanian President Jose Raul Mulino to discuss the importance of sanctions against Russia's shadow fleet. Panama has already revoked the registration of more than 200 Russian tankers, including those that are unsafe to operate. They also discussed a joint efforts to return Ukrainian children abducted by Russia. On the same day, Secretary of State Marco Rubio called on Russian Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov to halt the ongoing killing in Ukraine, reflecting a firmer U.S. stance toward Russia. God, I'm a person when I take a stance on something that generally never is going to change ever. And God, they flip flop all the fucking time. It drives me crazy. Like, shit. Yeah, right. Always when I'm reading chat and chat's like, he's always lying. I'm like, they're not talking about me. Like, I need to see the speech from the Canada's signed a game-changing trade deal with Indonesia and a new defense pact. So look at the diplomacy all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm reading a chat like this piece of shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, ladies. All right. He stopped 7 wars. Everything out of his mouth is a lie. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, I just want to point out all this shit talked about fucking communists my whole life. All this shit talked about China my whole life. I just want to point out, hey, at least their fucking president believes in climate change. God damn it! Here's China's president announcing a new climate goal. Fuck! Yeah, all this time they're like, hey, fucking China, the world's evil. Oh, oh, really? At least their guy in charge believes in this shit. Ooh, here you go. Acts of tyranny. Ooh, I like it. Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro. There you go. I was hoping we'd come across it since I was yapping about it. Yeah. Meanwhile, our president thinks tariffs are good and that it's going to make us so much money. Remember, I told you they don't have the infrastructure to collect the tariffs that they're talking about collecting. They don't even have the ability to collect that money, even if they were gonna. Do you know how much they would have to pay somebody to sit at these ports and collect fucking tariffs? Do you know what kind of education that person would have to have? They would have to be like John Wick, like self defense, first of all, climate, fuck, sitting out in that shack in the middle of fucking summer, The dead ass of winter, and then you gotta have a strong hand, and you can't let just people just go. They just gotta pay their way. What the fuck? Who the fuck is doing that job? God damn. Nobody. Nobody's in that job. Tariffs are negotiated before that boat leaves the port. Yeah, yeah. If you're not embarrassed at what's happening, it's because you're not paying attention. Hmm. Yeah, it's all done digitally. Tariffs are decided before the boat leaves the port. It's just added into your cost for goods that you purchase. Oh, and you know what else is funny? I did a little bit of research about farms in the United States. What percentage of farms in the US produce food purely domestically? Overall US food supply remains domestic. Farms with local food sales represent only 7.8% of farms. So that's why you got to have a farm and an orchard, right? Because otherwise, you're just taking in government subsidy to produce a crop. Like, you're being paid to work. I don't, I don't know how I feel about socialized farming, but it sounds pretty socialist. So I'm all about subsidizing farms as long as that crop is being produced and sold domestically. And it looks like one of the efforts of sustainability that would be intelligent for a farm to do, it appears that the most successful farms do local food sales. So, do you have an orchard, a garden? Do you grow and sell locally? Oh, if you're not doing that, I have a problem with subsidizing your farm operation because if you're not if you're because of it's the rule of numbers. I'm willing to bet the people that are not selling their product domestically, I'm willing to bet you like there's about 8% about 15% of the food grown is sold globally. Hmm. Gotta grow a garden. Hmm. Yeah, and the problem with corn and soybean, well, soybeans are good. Corn's really bad for the soil, so it's destroying the soil quality in the United States. Nice. Zeke said, speaking of garden, my tomatoes mini tomatoes came in. They came out sweet and they're still producing fruit. Mother Nature is amazing. Yeah. I want to grow a garden. I'm just real hesitant. It's like I bought the little starter cups. I have my little starter bag. Um, I think it might be too late in the year now, though. I don't know. I don't know anything. You know what's crazy about corn is you can use corn to produce fuel. It's just not very efficient. But yeah, the president of Colombia called Donald Trump's attacks on drug boats an act of tyranny. Here's another significant Ukraine airstrike. A major Russian drone factory in Belgorod disrupting UAV production. Hey, here's a good story. In Bogota, Colombia, 23 workers were rescued Wednesday after spending 43 hours trapped in a collapsed underground gold mine in northern Colombia. Hey. Well, you got to remember, who was that? Gab. You got to remember, he did that in international water, thousands of miles from the U.S. So it would be somebody else punishing us, not us punishing us. No. And remember, the purpose of doing that was to drive people from the beaches, communities. The whole point of that is to disrupt beach, like beachside communities that are built on the northern Argentinian coast. We looked it up. It's gonna put a fucking resort there, put a military base there. Dead ass. That's how Donald Trump does this shit. Yeah. That's how these warhawks do this shit. Unite to end wars and tackle climate crisis. The Australian Prime Minister in a swipe at U.S. isolationism. Yeah, it's it's okay to be worldly, right? To have an understanding of who people are, right? Great story today. Uh, Not just Spain, but Spain's prime minister says they'll send a warship to protect the aid flotilla floating into Gaza. Okay, look at Spain out here not fucking it up. Turkey is sending AWACS to jet to Lithuania. A lot of movement. Yep, you should see the shooting down of that Su-34. Italy was the other country. Thanks, Gab. I couldn't remember who was the other country. By the way, my wife bought me this hoodie. This is not. This is a horse wearing Ray Bans. Let's go. So an AWACS jet. What is an AWACS jet? That's what I thought. It's like the Boeing E-3 Sentry. Here you go. Here's a YouTube video outlining what AWACS is. For anybody that's, a lot of people aren't real hip on acronyms. Airborne Warning Control System. Warning and Control System. It's like yep, it's important to remember that you got to understand the Israel of today is not the Israel from the Bible. the Israel of today was founded in 1948 by then the head of the Jewish agency, David Ben Gurion, who's still alive. Its whole purpose was to act like the United States in the Middle East, particularly in her expansionist and imperialist ways. So one of the things that's important to understand is that Israel is playing her part. Israel is playing her part. The problem is Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay? The problem is Benjamin Netanyahu because absolute power corrupts absolutely. Benjamin Netanyahu achieved absolute power, and this is you gestures generally in Israel's way. This is what they do. Um, yeah, they gaslit us into believing they were the victims over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Um, yeah, and if you know about the Path Home program, and you know that for decades, um, people who had committed essay that were Jewish were welcomed into Israel. Those people went there and married and had kids. Imagine, listen to me. My father is one of those men that committed essay as a teen, and we don't have a relationship and never have. He was horrible to me. We don't have a relationship. So, what do you think it's like for a kid growing up in Israel and your parents, your dad specifically, committed essay or is a pedophile? Generations upon generations for the last 50 plus years. And again, you never hear me say shit like all Jews are pedos or all Israelis are pedos. Nope. There is a program that for decades took young Jewish men who committed essay or pedophilia and welcomed them in Israel for decades. So who's in their government? Who's in their schools? Who's in, you know what I mean? Who's in charge? Pedos. Up and fucking down. Up and fucking down. And understand, think about the behaviors. Like y'all saw the most horrible thing I think I've ever seen was the IDF raping that girl under that bridge on in broad daylight on camera. And if they weren't actively partaking, they were holding their shield up so they to shield you from viewing that. It was so shocking. They knew they were being videoed and did it anyway. That's because that's who their leadership is. They're reflective of their people's actions are reflections of their leadership. Hmm. Yep, 100%. The people, the fortunate thing, what we're really, I want to continue to beat on this drum because I was in the military. So 100% biased. But I want to continue to point out the fact that the U.S. military has not drawn weapons on Americans and fired them, and we are not living under martial law. And I want to continue to point out not only are we not trained for that in the U.S. military, but that's not on the menu. Nope. And I want to continue to point out the rule of law standing up against Donald Trump. I want to continue to point it out at every chance. You cannot lay executive order and rule by fiat. That ain't how this works. So, unless that executive order is accompanied by a bill, and yes, I'm aware of Chip Roy, fuck him too. It's largely hoodoo. Or I don't know what you call it. Uh, Shite? Not worth the paper it was written on. Okay, so now that we've established that you cannot rule by fiat, your executive orders mean absolutely nada, then understand that any illegal act committed thinking that you're going to be able to use some executive order to get out of trouble, he won't help you. Donald Trump is a turncoat. He loves doing it, which is fucking insane to me. He loves being disloyal. Fucking insane to me. It's like a feature with Donald Trump. Hopefully he just dies soon. Like literally just like runs out of gas. I was laughing this morning. One of the content creators that I like, they said Donald Trump's head looks like a lollipop that got dropped on the ground, a half sucked lollipop that got dropped on the ground, rolled around in dog hair, and then given. Um, so I'm gonna say it again because it's fucking great. Donald Trump looks like a half sucked lollipop that got dropped on the ground, rolled around in dog hair, and then presented. You want some? So, you're welcome. Because he pardoned them. He's allowed to do that. He's allowed to pardon people. And an executive order is a declaration. It doesn't mean anything, but like he has the ability to pardon people. You're welcome for the mental image. But yeah, that's what an AWACS is, if you ever wondered. And why, Jared, is it significant for somebody to give an AWACS? For Turkey to give someone an AWACS? He looks like a raisin. He pardoned a lot of horrible people. Yes, he did. Jesus fucking Christ, man. We're out here fucking it up in the ocean. Don't fuck up the ocean, man. You know, I think there's a period in our lives where we get good enough grades where we're like, I could be a marine biologist. I think we all did that in middle school. The world's oceans failed a key planetary health check for the first time, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels, a report has shown. So, hey, it's 71% of the planet. We're like mostly water, bro. Can't be fucking up the ocean. It's gonna affect marine life. Hmm. Russia delivers MiG 29 jets to the Iranian Air Force. And a lot of people are like, wait, what? And I looked up, is the Russian MiG 29 a viable fighter jet? Sure. Lags behind newer aircraft in range, avionics, and integration into modern networked warfare systems. They gave him shit. Here, take our trash. Have fun. Hey, Bob. So remember, weeks ago, Israel said they were advancing on the Gaza Strip, right? Benjamin Netanyahu has said over and over that they're going to decimate Gaza, right? I just want to point out to this piece, right? Hamas fires on the IDF, the military, which was advancing on a hospital. Whose side are you on? They're advancing on Doctors Without Borders. Armed men with guns, shooting their guns, are attacking hospitals that have Doctors Without Borders in them. Whose side are we on? We have, we the people have to decide, right? How about the American Socialist Party not beholden to Russia nor Israel, right? How about for the people, by the people, by the people, for the people? Hell yeah, free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. Hey, you know what my favorite word is? Chaos. The Ukraine has hit the Black Sea Fleet in Novorossiysk as chaos reported across Russian Black Sea regions. Hell yeah. Give 'em hell. The world is in the most destructive arms race in history. Huh. Mine is currently clots. Clots and prayers. A Syrian president speaks at the UN for the first time since 1967. Oh, and I want to show you this. So, often people live a whole life and they don't do anything meaningful. They don't do anything meaningful. And if you read a lot of books, after a while you kind of smell a pattern, right? Oh, this is this kind of story. Um, I was introduced to a card game called Magic the Gathering when I was in middle school. My dad bought me a bunch of Fifth Dawn to date myself. Long fucking time ago. I'm pretty positive. When did Magic the Gathering 5th dawn? Nope, that's not it. Let's go back. I want to maybe it was fifth edition. Maybe it was Portal. We're gonna find out though. Must have been fifth edition. 1997 makes sense. Let's see if there were any other sets that came out around that time. I don't recognize any of this stuff. Tempest? I had some Tempest. So yeah, Fifth Dawn, which came out Fifth Dawn, fifth edition, March 24th, 1997. My dad came home with some Magic cards and introduced me to the game. And then he bought me a bunch of cards. The smell of Magic the Gathering cards is fucking intoxicating. Um, and then I built decks out of them, and I begged my dad to play for years, and he never would. So I never played my dad in Magic the Gathering. Um, I was in Chicago when the greatest player of all time won uh, a Worlds event. I was a child. But I wanted to share this story with you because I'm pro equality, right? And that means I'm pro people. And I think that, like, we aren't just dime a dozen. We aren't just a number. We are individually fucking important and powerful. We are just more powerful than we'll ever know. And so I wanted to introduce you to one, I would call her a colleague that I share a passion for a game with. Um, and so this is the story of Miss Catherine Nikoloff, one of the very early professional Magic the Gathering players. And as you can imagine, in a Dungeons and Dragons themed card game professional setting in the 90s, probably not great. And also, she was pretty and she was really good and she dated multiple pros and people are fucking horrible and this is my formal call for the head of Mark Rosewater. And what I mean is he should lose his fucking job for the shit that he has done. And this isn't the first time that I've witnessed someone with direct ties, someone that has directly worked with and for Mark Rosewater, saying this kind of shit about him. And he's in charge of the game I like. You know what I mean? So it's important. It's like I'm sharing a little bit of this game's culture with you. Uh, and it's just an interesting story. And Catherine Nikoloff is a powerful wizard. She's like me, just play casual commander now, like not really playing. I gotta work. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to make sure I share this with you. But the reason I shared it with you is not just because it's about a video or about a game I like. It's because someone that I was on active duty with, that was in my unit, I was in their platoon, made it about a game that I like, and it's wildly popular whether we touch it or not. So it doesn't matter if you watch it. It's got 25,000 views. It was put on the internet yesterday. it's gonna get its heat, right? But I wanted you to see, like, hey, someone that I served with, that I share a hobby with, is making what I would call like responsible journalism about a card game, right? About the history of a card game. Pretty interesting. Hamas is reportedly ready for street to street fighting. Lord help them. I mean, we just read a story where they were backed up into a hospital. Second Denmark airport in a week closes due to drones. But yeah, I shared that YouTube video not just because it's about a game I like, not just because, um, but it shows you again how absolute power corrupts absolutely. Those who seek it do not deserve it. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a story about, a lot of people um, will complain about culture in Magic the Gathering, and they don't realize that like art imitates life, right? Like so the microcosm of the world that is the Magic the Gathering community has the same problems the rest of society has. Lack of acceptance for non-white cis males at its highest order. In fact, just to be very clear, the professional game of Magic the Gathering was dominated by trans people for years. And ultimately, I think that negatively impacted the game's marketability, but not from its potential and not because it's good. It's because people are anti trans at the top. And so, remember, Magic the Gathering used to be shown on ESPN. Well, just like chess or whatever non super physical competitive event they show. hmm But yeah, I traveled and played competitively for a long time. And trans women and women are an impactful part, and people of color are an impactful part of that community. More importantly, it's an international game. The Magic the Gathering cards are printed in multiple fucking languages. It's a global game. Again, I've tried to tell people it is the game. hmm Everything else pales in comparison. If you ever want to like leave your house and go do some shit, I'm telling you, Atlanta is this weekend, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. I hope everybody wears a mask. hmm I wish I could be there. But yeah, I like to share culture stuff with you from stuff I like. So I play Magic the Gathering. A guy I was on active duty with did something awesome with his platform. You could do anything. Scientist behind autism study cited by Trump admin was paid $150,000 by plaintiffs suing Tylenol manufacturer. Dr. Andrea Baccarelli's expert testimony was thrown out by a federal judge who said he cherry picked and misrepresented study results. Okay, so we talked about research scientists behind a study. There is a fucking bug flying around, driving me crazy. But yeah, Professor at Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health. And I hope you all saw this. This is the fucking troll in the White House, bro. This is what the president spends their time doing. Not passing laws, not making our lives better, replacing a picture of Joe Biden with an auto pen. With a picture of an auto pen. Which again, remember, every accusation is a yeah. Thank God it's on a mosquito. It's a little fly, a little tsetse fly. And again, I want to point out, and again, this is all a distraction. See this picture? This is very telling. See how he's looking over his shoulder in this photo. I hope if you're listening, you just rocketed forward in your seat. Look at this photo of Donald Trump. It's an AP article I just posted. Okay, it said the headline is after mechanical challenges. UN says Trump's team to blame for non-working escalator and teleprompter. Okay, look at him looking over his shoulder and his wife looking at him. Look at Melania knew this was going to happen because Donald Trump told them to do it so that he could blame the UN for the elevator not functioning, for the teleprompter not working. That's his spin, right? Remember, he's obsessed with the attention. And for the record, I was going like this. He's obsessed with the attention. Look at the look on his face as he looks over his shoulder, and look at Melania looking at him. He's looking like, are you watching? Like a little kid. Remember, he is a fourth grader with dementia. You can see it in his face. Yep. Oklahoma official says all high schools will have a turning point chapters after the Charlie Kirk killing. I want to continue to point out that Charlie Kirk was just the CEO. That was just a school shooting, and I don't understand what Republicans are making a big deal about. You know what I'm saying? That was just a school shooting, and Charlie Kirk was just the CEO. What are we all up in arms about? Why are we so caught up in this man's death? It's just odd. It's odd that they're trying to martyr him. Mr. Attention Ho. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Attention Ho. Yes, you are correct. Judge says Justice Department's officials' statements on Luigi Mangione broke court rules. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, that kid's gonna walk. Mangione's gonna walk. Justice Department officials' statements on Luigi Mangione broke court rules. Luigi Mangione is gonna walk. They already had to drop terrorism charges, now they're breaking fucking rules? They're they're gonna end up getting this fucking case dismissed. YouTube is going to start bringing back creators that were banned for COVID-19 and election misinformation. So, awesome. Awesome. Oh, and by the way, I watched a video this morning where they took a high res photo of the bullet casings from the shooting in Dallas, and they enhanced, and you know what they figured out? That shit said Nazi. So the why would you put anti-ice? Who the fuck would write anti-ice on a bullet casing and shoot it at a detainee? Like, come on. You have to be a complete fucking idiot. An absolute goddamn moron to be like, yeah, that tracks. That white cis male that shot those brown people in handcuffs from a sniper position with a sniper rifle. Why the fuck would you write anti-ice? Wouldn't you write like fuck ice? You know what I mean? Or melt ice or some shit? But it just smells stupid. Stupid, poorly planned, rushed, jump to conclusions. Hey, these are things little kids do. Donald Trump smells like Donald Trump, smells like Cash Patel. Yeah, planting fucking evidence. hmm And one of the things that we have to remember, despite the proclivity of your favorite content creators to pretend like they're being swarmed by them, um, a social media firm did an audit of all these right leaning talking heads and found that like 90% of their audience. What? 90% of their audience is bots. So remember, there aren't as nearly as many of them as you think there are. What are we Jesus Christing me for and wowing me for? What happened? Did I say something wrong? What? Would I blow a hole in some shit? Yeah, those bullets were planted. That's planted evidence. As is the screwdriver on the roof. As is the video evidence of Robinson fleeing, but there's not video of him pulling the trigger. There's also clear video of the shooting, and there's not loud noises. And his head didn't fucking explode when he got shot. And also, he bled from the front, which means he was shot from behind. And my wife and I started to yeah, those bots swarm lefties YouTube lives. But I mean, they ain't showing up here. You know what I'm saying? Shit, sloppy as fuck. Yeah, yeah. hmm I didn't even know there's a thing called YouTube Live. I just thought like we stream a live podcast. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely 100% feel like in both the Charlie Kirk shooting and the Dallas shooting that this FBI Cash Patel planted fucking evidence. Okay. Hey, I was just clarifying. It was like, whoa, Jared, Jesus Christ. I was like, wait, what did I say? I was like, did I say something wrong? Uh, Health Canada rebukes Donald Trump and says, hey, there's actually no conclusive evidence leaking acetaminophen to autism. Which, I mean, we all knew. Yo! A New York woman is accused of incapacitating four men with fentanyl-laced drugs, killing three of them. Tabitha Bundrick, 36, was indicted Wednesday on 11 counts of murder, robbery, burglary, and assault. Holy shit. Probably golfing. Or faking like they're golfing. I want to continue to point this out. I don't know when the last time the president golfed a whole round. Academy fan. What? Oh my god. Remember Epstein-Minifin? Oh, people are wondering how do you pronounce acetaminophen? It's called Release the Epstein Files. Long story short, do not belly flop on other people. Teacher stabbed by student fascinated by Nazi ideologies is in stable condition. So remember, idolizing the Nazis is bad. Okay? Two kids were stabbed in a high school in Pittsburgh. Learning today about Myanmar and the junta. Take two, release the files. Yeah. CNN.com reporting Aralida Grijalva wins the U.S. House special election in Arizona, delivering a decisive signature for Epstein files push. NASA's Princeton-led IMAP set to launch Wednesday. A landmark NASA mission led by Princeton researchers will launch a rocket on Wednesday from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, sending a probe towards the sun to study the heliosphere, a plasma bubble surrounding the sun. First of all, plasma bubble surrounding the sun sounds fucking awesome. So here, that's interesting. Little article from the Daily Princetonian. All right, see what's going on in politics. does look like a fucking screw. Screwworm is dangerously close. A flesh-eating parasite just 70 miles from the U.S. Yeah, I hope they don't change their vote. Again, I wanna say it's political suicide to change your vote there. Texas officials are telling residents to check their pets and livestock and insisting on immediate use of pesticide bait after officials in Mexico confirmed an infection with the flesh-eating New World screwworm less than 70 miles from the US border. NWS is a horrifying parasitic flies that attacks warm-blooded animals, laying hundreds of eggs in any openings or wounds, even minute ones. The resulting larvae both look and act like screws, boring and twisting into the animal while feasting on its living flesh. The ravenous larvae create ghastly wounds and can be deadly to livestock and wild animals. In July, Mexican officials found an NWS case in Veracruz, which is 370 miles from the U.S. border. On Sunday, Mexico's National Service of Agroalimentary Health, Safety and Quality, SENASICA, confirmed the closest NWS case so far in Sabinas Hidalgo, located in the state of Nuevo León, less than 70 miles from the U.S. Mexico border. Infected an 8-month-old cow. Oh, one of the most heavily trafficked commercial thoroughfares in the world. So, you ever wondered, like, why is screwworm happening? Well, because like it's a highly okay. Here's a story in the Los Angeles Times. LA petition alleges ethnic cleansing by federal immigration agents, demands a UN probe. What did RFK Jr. release now? It smells like his worm is up to no good. That's funny. And I want to make sure that we use our platform to say every single day, even when they do release the Epstein files, I'm still gonna say the President of the United States used his wives, he used his kids. Ultimately, he used his best friend and his best friend's wife to run an international organized crime ring for the better part of 20 years, and the whole goal was for Donald Trump to find other like minded, super rich, super wealthy people to surround himself with who also didn't mind being around minors. And I'm not talking about the people that dig into the earth. I'm talking about young boys and girls under the age of 18. And all of this, all of these distractions, all of them are just meant to distract you from that. And again, we are barreling towards it just being like public record. Hayas said maybe they should look into the fact that two-thirds of the detainees down in Florida have gone missing. Yeah, like 1,200 people are missing. hmm And remember, this country was built by immigrants, and that if your skin looks like mine, you are an immigrant here in the United States. Also, most people that live in the United States are immigrants. This is a nation of immigrants. hmm And by the way, make sure you have a valid ID and and a valid passport, and that you keep those near you. You never know when you're gonna get your fucking card pulled under this fucking regime. Megan Kelly, 54 years old, gets into a screaming match with a student. And I want to continue to point out that the people that you like the least in this on this planet, the gaggle of pedophiles that is the Republican Party, I want to continue to point out that their talking heads love to debate kids without a college degree. You never see any of the people on the right debate someone with a college degree. You notice no one's ever asked me to debate them. So I only care about the facts. Yeah. When I don't entertain bullshit, I'm not fun to debate against because I don't have fucking crazy ideas. Jeffrey Epstein investigator, taped admitting that Donald Trump covered up the files. That Donald Trump is protecting a lot of people. Hey, I'm glad you have a real ID. I think I still have to go back and get one. And by the way, join a union. Don't say it often enough, and we should. I joined Work in America. I work in finance. There's not really a good like union for finance. Work in America will work. Okay. Make sure you're letting other people know. Hey, in about 3 weeks, there's a protest on October 18th. I'm radicalized because I have a college degree. But you know what's crazy though? Are you ready for this? Mike, are you ready for what's crazy though? My education's not what radicalized me. My education taught me very specific skills. My classes were in how to make memes. You know what I'm saying? Like, cat here, and again, I'm not arguing with you. The idea that college is what radicalizes. No, you know, you know what radicalized me completely, completely radicalized me. Data, the math. As somebody that can like read data, that's what radicalized me. Is I looked at the numbers and I was like, holy fuck, wealth inequality, right? Like all of this shit. The more I learn about the socialist economic theory, the more I'm like, oh, I know why they poo-poo socialism. Because socialism, the socialist economic theory would have me speaking out against interest and against rent and against taxes, right? Like no tax without representation, right? If you feel like this administration is not looking out for you, hey, Right, right. I get it, Mike. That's not how the right sees it. They see you as radical because you went to college, but it's like what radicalized me was knowing that there are millions of homes for sale in the United States, and there's less than a million fucking homeless people. Hey, hey, we're failing a math problem. There are more homes. Why doesn't the state just buy up a home and put a bunch of homeless people in it? What the fuck are we doing with a caretaker? What are we doing? See, you see problems. I see. Ooh, goody. Now we get to find a solution for that, right? Most people, that's one of the very few reasons I'll ever bring up Jocko Willink. Jocko Willink is a former Navy SEAL team commander. Okay, so this is the dude. Okay, and he's great at doing like motivational speeches and shit. Um, he ran on it for 10 years. He brought this on himself. Yeah. So, uh, Jocko Willink says, whenever you have a problem and you're within a team and it's life or death, right? And a problem arises, that's when it's fucking go time. Like hell yeah! Now we got shit to do, bro. Far too much of life is rigmarole. You just checking off boxes, and it's not until you have problems that you get some action, that you get to do something, that you get to flex your fucking brain and brawn. Hopefully not your brawn, and you just use your brain and solve problems fucking as simply as and efficiently as possible, and largely avoid conflict because it's atrocious. Hard to say, but the problem. I'm not necessarily a pacifist. I am a violence is not efficient ist. The swift end is not efficient. No, not that you needed verification of that. You knew that. So I want to continue to point out people talk about like there are no consequences for these people, and I disagree. Ryan Walters, the superintendent that's fucking batshit crazy, he was forced to resign. So this just came out uh 11:40 last night. He will now serve as the CEO of Teacher Freedom Alliance, which is aimed at destroying teachers unions. Obviously, being an elected official doesn't pay as well as it does being a CEO. Donald Trump wants to open up 45 million acres of roadless wilderness to logging. A push to repeal the roadless rule that protects the few ecosystems that remain truly wild faces mass opposition. Beautiful picture of. Other day, we had a guy at an anti-Trump rally in a Grinch costume, but was a CK fan that had all sorts of psalms on his protest sign. It was weird. Look, I don't know how to say this, but No Child Left Behind was an abject failure. Um, George Carlin said that half of all people are stupid, the other half are even stupider. Um, it's weird to be a fan. I say you never want to meet your heroes. Um, Imagine being the fan of a dead guy who had all the wrong opinions. That's weird. Because, like, Charlie Kirk, when I heard him speak, every time I've heard him speak, it's bullshit. That man has never said anything where my brain was like, you know what, Charlie Kirk and I might be on the same side on something. He everything he says, I'm like, wrong, wrong, wrong. That was wrong. Why the fuck is he still talking? Like, holy shit! Somebody get an adult in the room to fucking spray. I know his gums stink. Okay, I mean they do now. Maybe he's having an identity crisis. Yep. And remember, one of the prevailing truths about the cult that is the right is that everywhere they congregate is a grinder hotspot. That's also just the truth. hmm Yeah. I just watched a piece on George Carlin where he said, "You don't have rights, you have suggestions." You have free speech until you exercise it. Yeah, Carlin was way ahead of his time. Oh yeah. All right. War in the beginning, eat rich in the end. Have a good day, y'all. Try not to let them get to you. Appreciate y'all being here. Bob and Gabby and Mike and Deb and Stacy and Zeke and yeah, have a good day, everybody. Divest from Sinclair and Nexstar. Tell everyone. Yeah, it's almost the weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.